Hey, if you're new here, my name is Taryn, and if you're returning, welcome back to conjuredcraft. I need a beholder for the D&D campaign that I'm running right now for a specific character that I'd like my PCs to eventually meet, but I also don't want to spend money on it. I want to use stuff I already have or things I can get from the dollar store very cheaply. The idea for this character is that they're a magician, a sorcerer, some type of magic user that just became obsessed with wanting to become a beholder. And so they're not quite human, not quite monster. They're just this weird floating mass with their body folding in on itself. I mean, you get the idea. I like to make terrible things. And so I'm tentatively calling this mutation a Sightseer. Alrighty, first things first, I have a collection of beads, ball bearings, and other spherical objects. I want to use some of them on this project, but I don't want to lose them. So I started out by actually making some molds with thermoplastic, so I can just shove green stuff and other epoxy clays into them later on, and keep this variety of shapes for the future. Once the mold was set, I took one of the largest dollar store beads I have, wrapped it with wire, and shoved some quick-set 2-part plumber's epoxy in it. And for the record, if I can find this stuff in a New Zealand dollar shop, you probably can wherever you are. Bringing back everyone's favorite gag from my last dollar store project, I have some cheap plastic dinos who I'm going to harvest the arms and head from. Using hot glue, I attach the arms in reverse as legs and build up the form with more beads, wire, and epoxy clay. I spent some time shaving down the head until I got it to a shape that I thought I liked. I'll end up changing this later on, so don't worry too much about how goofy it looks right now. All of the sculpting this time around was using a 50-50 mix of green stuff and milliput. This has to be my favorite way to sculpt at scale, and I can't believe how long it's taken me to try it out. The stickiness of the green stuff means that I can attach it to any surface, but the milliput gives it better strength, and so this ends up being a perfect combo. I've seen probably 100 different people use this trick, but most recently it was Wilhelm Miniatures, so thanks for that. From there, I spent a fair amount of time just gluing on beads and hemispheres, and then building up the mass with the green stuff milliput mix around it. I know this isn't technically dollar store material, but it's still cheaper than buying a model, and it's going to be a lot easier than trying to bake it with Sculpey or some other polymer clay. Besides needing a beholder for my D&D campaign, this project came around because it was just a silly idea that I had, and I'm able to do silly, fun things whenever I want to thanks to my amazing patrons. It's just a couple dollars a month, but it makes a huge difference because that means I can go out and just grab plastic dinosaurs and other hobby supplies when I need them. As always, thank you to all of my patrons, and this month a very special thank you to my newest patron, Diana Montenegro. So like I mentioned before, this silhouette isn't really working for me. In my original drawing, the Sightseer was much rounder and the mouth is sticking out a little too far here. I could keep lumping clay on the body to match, but that would honestly just be a waste of time and materials. So I'd rather cut my losses and pull the mouth off now and try again. Okay, so for painting this time around, I have a plan, sort of. I would like this miniature to be genre agnostic, so I can use it in a fantasy or sci-fi setting and get at least more than one use out of it going forward. I'm starting with a zenithal prime, blocking out the shadows with darker paints, and then mixing the midtones right on the sculpture. When that eventually dries, I hit the whole thing with some washes. I tried using some very dark purple to plan out bruising, but the initial pass didn't look quite right, so I switched gears from there to do some dry brushing and focus on the eyes. Working in orange, yellow, and white, getting lighter and lighter with each pass, eventually adding on the iris for each eye using a fine tip marker. Finally, I could throw together a quick base and get this thing done. So yeah, that's how I made this tiny creepy little dude. I've made a lot of cool stuff on this channel that I'm very proud of. This feels like the first thing that is uniquely my style. And it feels really good to be able to say that. I hope to do more fun projects like this. I've actually already got my next project planned and it's in the works. My patrons will know about it because of course they get access to behind the scenes footage and bonus videos and a bunch of other stuff. So if you're interested, consider checking that out. But at the very least, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, that would also be a huge help, just so I can keep making bigger and hopefully more terrible projects. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks so much for sticking it all the way through. I wish you the best of luck on whatever creative project you're working on. If you're curious, I'm still writing in my journal every day, and I will see you very soon. Alrighty, bye.